Hello, my name is Tara and I work at Vestavia Hills Library in the Forest. In today's Creative Corner video, I will show you how to make a mason jar fairy house lamp. Fairy houses are small homes that you can create out of natural materials to place in your garden to invite fairies, good luck, and happiness. Fairy houses can come in many shapes and many forms and can be made of anything. You will often see them in the shape of mushrooms, tree stumps, or fairy doors. In today's video, I will show you how to make a fairy house out of felt and a mason jar to create a fairy house lamp so that you can bring spring's good luck to your home. To create your own fairy house, you will need the following supplies: felt or sticker felt, glue or hot glue, battery-powered tea lights or an LED string light, a mason jar or a clear glass, scissors, ruler, markers or Sharpie, pencil, paper, and tape. To get started, you will pick out 3 colors of felt that you want to use for your fairy house. In this video, I will be using felt with adhesive on the back, but regular felt will work as well. For mine, I'm using pink for the roof, yellow for the house, and green for the ground. You can pick any color combination. If you don't have green for the ground, that is okay. Here in these examples that I have made out of construction paper, I have shown the variety of ideas that you can use for the ground cover. If you have gray, you can make it look like cobblestone, or if you have brown, it can look like bricks. If you have any other color, you can make it look like a field of flowers. Here I have added flowers to show you what this could look like. After you have selected your colors, you will need to cut out the felt to the shapes that we need for each section of the house. For the piece of felt for the house, you will take your ruler and mason jar and measure the height of the jar just below the lid. For mine, it is 4 inches tall. Next, you'll take your pencil and ruler and draw a vertical line that is equal to the height that you just measured from your jar and cut it with your scissors. Next, take this piece of felt that you've just cut that is equal to the height and wrap it around your jar loosely. By doing this, you'll find the length of the felt that you will need. Mark this length onto the felt with your pencil. Next, you will add 1 inch to this length so that you have enough room to glue it on later. For my jar, the width was 10 inches long plus 1 inch. Once you know the width of your felt, you can cut off any excess felt. Set this to the side for now. Before cutting the piece of felt for the roof, you will need to decide the height and angle of your cone-shaped roof. A cone is simply a portion of a circle that has been rolled up. The shape of your roof can vary depending on the radius or half of the circle's width and by the amount of material that you use. For this step, I will show you 3 different roof sizes that fit my mason jar. The size of my mason jar is 4 inches tall just under the lid and is about 3.5 inches wide at the top. To aid in this step, I have created a template for each roof which is linked in the description below. I have also created a protractor to help with getting the angle that you need. As you can see here with these examples, the first roof is 8 inches long on the radius and uses 1/4 of a circle or up to 90 degrees. The second roof is 6.5 inches long on the radius and uses 112.5 degrees of a circle. The third is 5.5 inches long on the radius and uses 135 degrees of a circle. For my mason jar, I picked the second roof because the height was in the middle of the 3 examples and would give me a good amount of leftover material to use for other things on the fairy house. After you have decided which roof you want to use for your mason jar, cut out the template and trace it onto your felt and then cut it out with scissors. Next, you will need to cut out the piece of felt for the ground. This will be used to hide the bottom of the mason jar. First, you'll need to decide what shape you want your ground cover to be. If your ground cover is to be grass or flowers, you can trim it to be an organic blob shape like what I have shown here. If your ground is to be cobblestone or brick, you can cut it into a geometric shape. After you have decided the shape you want for your ground cover, take your pencil and draw the shape onto the felt that is at least 5 to 6 inches wide and then cut it out. Set this piece of felt to the side for now. After you have all of these pieces of felt cut out, you can start decorating them by using markers, leftover pieces of felt, and cutting out shapes into the felt. Before you can decorate the house section, you'll need to decide what your windows and door will look like and what shape they will be. In the 3 examples I have made here from construction paper, I did each window and door in a different style to give you an idea of what your fairy house could look like. After you have decided the shape you want for your door, draw the shape onto the felt, keeping in mind where you want the hinge of the door to be. Next, take your scissors and cut the door open, leaving the hinge attached. For the door on my house, I did a simple arch door opening with a hinge on the right side. Using markers or even leftover felt if you have it, you can add a different color to the door and add little details like hinges or wood strips like I have shown here. I used some pink felt and created a trim to go around the door and placed the leftover pink felt from the inside on the other side of the door. I then used a brown marker to change the color of the door to brown and used dark purple and red to add wood textures to the door. Before decorating the rest of the house, decide the shape you want for the windows and where they will be. Take your pencil and draw them onto the felt. For my house, I have added 2 windows with the second window to suggest that there is a second floor. While I was making my windows, I found it easiest to cut out the hole of the window and then to add 2 strips of felt to create the window bars. Where you have drawn your windows, fold the felt in the center of the window and snip it with your scissors. This will create a hole so that you can get your scissors into the felt, cutting out the window, and not any of the felt meant for the house. After the hole for the window is cut out, take some of the leftover felt from the roof or ground and cut 2 strips of felt and glue them to the back of the felt like I have shown here. Next, cut out a ring to be the border of the window and glue it to the front. To help get an exact match of your window frame, you can trace the pieces of felt that you cut out from the window from before. For my windows, I drew them to look like wood knots, cutting out a circle in the middle. I used pink felt for the strips for the window bars and for the frame on the outside. I then used purple marker to add wood texture. To decorate the walls on the house, you can use markers and leftover pieces of felt to add flowers, plants, mushrooms, leaves, and even plants. For my house, I then cut out flowers using the pink felt I had, and then cut swirl-like shapes to look like vines growing up the side of the house. Next, for the roof, using hot glue, roll the felt into a cone shape and add a line of glue to one edge and press the other edge to it. If you are using felt with a sticker adhesive on the back like I am, this step was actually a little tricky, and I found it best to roll up the felt a few times before applying the glue. Once this dries, set this piece to the side for now. For the roof, you can add details by cutting shapes out that resemble roof shingles along the bottom edge of the roof. If you have leftover felt, you can also cut out pieces to look like flower petals, individual shingles, or even cut a circle to look like spots on a mushroom, like in the example that I have here. You can also add these details by using your markers. For my roof, I used the leftover pink and yellow felt that I had and cut them out to be rectangles to use as shingles. Because I didn't have enough shingles, I only placed them on the front of the cone and then used markers to add little details. For the ground cover, one idea that you can do is cut leftover felt to look like a path to the door, or flowers, or even stones. If your ground cover is green, you can use markers to add dashes to look like grass. If it is gray, you can add oval shapes to make it look like cobblestone. If it is any other color, you can add flowers of that same color to make it look like a field of flowers. If you do add any extra pieces of felt, be sure not to place anything in the center. For my ground cover, I took a piece of yellow felt and used a brown marker to make it look like a dirt path. I also made little flowers from the pink felt and placed them randomly on the ground, and then I used a pink marker to add more flowers. Once you have all of your pieces of felt decorated, you can start to assemble your fairy house. First, you'll take your mason jar and remove the lid and set it to the side for now. Next, you'll place your battery-powered tea light or LED string lights into the jar. For this project, don't use any real tea lights or candles in your jar because of the fire risk that this could cause. For the following steps, I'll be using a hot glue gun to attach the pieces together onto the jar. Because hot temperatures can break glass, I recommend using a low temperature hot glue gun. If you don't have a hot glue gun, that is fine. You can use any glue of your choice. If you're using felt with adhesive on the back like I am, you can remove the paper from the back of the felt of the portion that you want to be glued. Next, you'll take your mason jar and hot glue the house section around it. To do this, wrap the house section around the jar, and where you've added the 1-inch strip from before to the house section, you'll add the hot glue and press the other side to the felt. Next, you'll take your ground cover and apply hot glue in a circle in the center of the felt. After waiting about 5 to 10 seconds to let the glue cool off just a bit, you'll place the jar in the center. If you have added a path to the door, make sure to align the path with the door. Next, you'll place the lid back onto the mason jar. You'll take your hot glue and add glue to 4 spots along the edge. Then, you'll place the roof back onto the lid, making sure that the roof is facing the way that you want it. Let this dry for a moment and then test to see if you can easily remove the lid while the roof is attached to it. With the jar open, turn on the tea light or LED string lights and then place the lid back onto the jar. And there you have it. You've now created a fairy house lamp that you can decorate your home with to bring in spring's good luck to your home. I hope that the techniques featured in this video today were fun and that you can use them for future projects. Thank you everyone for watching and have a great day.